I need advice about a girl I am trying to help. Hi, M26 here. About 2 months ago I met a girl, F26. We had a really good time together, similar views on things and the sense of humor. The situation has turned into a mess about a month into the situationship that we were in. Let me mention that she's an immigrant in my country and she's not doing great financially, which I only found out later on. When we first met, she told me that she's studying at the same university as I do, and she's renting a room from the same family that she works for as a caregiver to their disabled son. We were meeting about once a week, around the weekend, spending 2 to 3 days together, mostly because I was busy, but she also claimed to be busy during the week, which later turned out to be a lie, just one of 100. We had worse moments, even one bigger disagreement which we were able to resolve, and it falsely reassured me that it's fine, because no relationship is perfect and what matters is that we are able to acknowledge our mistakes and move forward. About a week or two after that argument, she's got attacked by a guy. We were on the phone, Saturday morning, and all of a sudden the call got interrupted. I only heard an angry male voice, before she hung up. Then her number rang and a man called. He started asking who am I and cursing me out. Later he called again and again, even threatened he will find me. I lost contact with the girl, he blocked me on her social media. I was worrying a lot, even tried to some of her friends, but I didn't know them well and they weren't helpful. The weekend has passed and she called me on Monday evening. I found out that she was assaulted. The guy, a son of her landlord who also lived at the apartment, blacked both of her eyes, beat her until she passed out. Later police came, and her landlord took her to the ER. She was hospitalized for 3 days. I also learnt that he smashed her phone, and later cut her arm with a clasp while throwing things at her. I was heartbroken. This scenario was the worst of my fears. I was feeling bad, because at that time, based on the words of the guy, the first believed him that he was her boyfriend and that she lied to me. On Monday she explained that he was obsessed with her and was harassing her, wanting her to be his girlfriend. She even claimed she never dated him, but later admitted that she did so briefly 6 months ago. So the guy was her ex, which does change things a bit emo. I also found out that she's not a student, stopped studying 3 years ago. She's been working for a while, but when staying with this family lost both her ID and the passport. Since then she was living off of the family's support, relying on them for everything, helping them with their online business for free basically. Sounds to me like slavery tbh. We meet next day and she's clearly been hurt, in a lot of pain. Her eye was badly injured, she had light sensitivity, headaches. She didn't feel safe staying in that apartment, so out of sympathy I offered to let her move into my place. She agreed and she's been at my place for over 3 weeks now. Since then it's been only getting worse. Every other step we're taking seems to uncover another hurdle. It took her 2 weeks to recover, during which I really tried to not pressure her about anything. I found give her medicine, feed her, keep the blinds down for her, comfort her and meet her every need. But weeks later I'm starting to see that sadly, she's kind of responsible for her situation. She used to drink a lot when staying with the guy. Even during her recovery, when she was in pain and acting mean towards me, she would resolve to beer or wine, telling me that it helps her deal with the stress, which to me sounds like alcoholism. Maybe because I don't like any alcohol, but she is in denial about it. Since the assault I have been trying to help her, connect her with a nonprofit organization that offers support to foreigners in crisis, book questioning at the police to complete the report. I spent extensive time trying to find the hospital where she stayed, because believe it or not, but she's the type of person who is not very independent, and to this day, she doesn't know or remember which hospital she was taken to, by her landlord. She even lost the doctor's discharge, not which would be helpful, she also lost the police report. Let me add that she was supposed to go for a checkup after discharge, but she didn't care enough to talk to the guy who drove her and go there. Let me mention that her family cares about her. Her mom is in touch with me and she is worried, but they're not in financial position to help her out. Some days go well, some days are ruined by her getting upset over some small statement I made, and being unwilling to let it go. Even when I listen, I want to understand, apologize and do better. Other times I randomly find out some new fact about her that she either didn't share or she lied about, like dating the guy, being a student, drinking alcohol. I once even found beer cans hid in my apartment, which she forgot about. She can go a few days without drinking, but then she wants a bottle of wine and finishes it alone in one evening. She is not very committed about fixing her legal situation with the documents, finding PH psychologist, or trying to find a job, accommodation. She's often late, she's not doing things on her own, almost always relies on me making decision, and it's not pretending, even around the area where she stayed before she can get lost easily. She often forgets about things such as buying a ticket on the bus. After all, she doesn't have money to afford the fine, so it's within her interest to get it? There was a case when she got upset with me during shopping. She wasn't sure about buying some toiletries, and asked me what should she do, to which I said, it depends on how much you need it, and if it's within your budget. She got upset and left me there walking out of the store. I only later found out that the phrase, within your budget, was offensive to her, because she didn't have any money at that time and felt like I want her to beg me to buy it, which was so wrong, because before she even offered to contribute by paying for grocery shopping, so I didn't know whether she wants to pay herself, or wants me to pay, which I would easily have done, granted that she asked me to. I tried to talk and understand what exactly was wrong. She then got off the bus, sat on the bus stop and ignored me. Told me to leave, which I did after some time because I found her behavior disrespectful, considering everything I did to her lately. Later she texted me that she doesn't know the way home and she doesn't want me to pick her up. Soon after her phone died, I even called her mother earlier and asked her for help because the girl was acting unreasonable in my opinion and she was in trouble. No money for a ticket, no idea where to go. Let me add that when I asked what I did wrong, she said, everything you did today was wrong. While I had class, came back, cooked a lunch for us, cleaned the apartment, worked for a while and then went out to help her sort out the SIM card problem. I went back home but then left to look for her. I spent about 4 hours like an idiot trying to find her in the area we split up. From around 8 p.m. to 12 p.m. when she called from some stranger's number in Subway to tell me that she's been in the area of her previous apartment. I went there as soon as I could to pick her up and take her home with Uber. She explained me as we met that she went back to the place to talk with the guy, and they even had drinks. I know that she's done with him and main reason she went there was to ask him for the access to her Facebook and Gmail account which he hacked, having his phone connected to them. This also complicated things because she didn't have access to her Google contact list. We lost too much time trying to retrieve them. She talked to me casually like she didn't care. What she did to me this evening, I think she was additionally upset over the fact that we didn't manage to order a SIM card duplicate, because it wasn't on her name but her ex's name. As we were walking back to my apartment around 1:40 a.m. she had the audacity to ask if we can get some wine, but I refused because I had a lecture at 8 a.m. the same day. After that day I felt like an idiot for spending my time, energy, and money, helping the person who treats me like trash, and all I did that day was because I felt that because I gave her mother a word to help her in this crisis, I can't just let go of that. Next day, only after her mother talked some sense into her, she apologized and said there was no excuse to treat me the way she did. Being an empath that I am, and a foolishly kind person, I was the one who first texted her from the class, saying that I'm not angry with her because it doesn't change anything, and I apologized for anything that might have offended her yesterday. I even asked her to remember that I mean well, but I'm only human. Since then it's been constantly up and down. We have a good 2 days, talk, even laugh together and enjoy each other's company, and that there's a day when she's wasting my whole afternoon, drunk on the phone, while I was out meeting with a friend, accusing me over some BS her friends said about me, who didn't even know me, later to only say that she's on her period and acts emotionally. I didn't hear even a single sorry. By the way, that actually hurt my relationship with that friend, but ultimately I am responsible for who I give my attention to. Her mother and I seem to be on the same page about the right course of action, and how we should treat and communicate with each other, but she's often moody, gives me silent treatment, or I discover she hid some truth from me. Sometimes she does something nice, like washes the dishes or folds the laundry, but otherwise she's okay spending most of the day in the room on the phone talking to some other guy, friend of hers, or watching reels. Mind you, it's the phone I gave her with a new SIM card I ordered just so she can use it and have some data when she's outside. By the way, for the last 2 weeks, her ex kept harassing her with an average of 50 phone calls per day, and texts, asking her to get back together, and promising castles in the air. She doesn't pick up any calls, nor answer any texts, but I'm sure it has some effect seeing all that on her phone, and considering he beat her up, it's weird she still didn't block him. The latest discovery was that her ex in one of his texts mentioned them doing some online streaming, which means basically webcam. He believed they could make money that way. Now when I asked her about that and she claimed he made an offer but she never agreed. Honestly, I felt like I can't believe any more words from her, because there's always something new that I find out, that adds another layer to the story, complicates things. Many of you will probably just call me an idiot, who ignored a ton of red flags, but I used to feel sorry for her, and wanted to help her find stability. I feel like I got myself into a serious mess, already by becoming an enemy to her ex, and being threatened by him solely as a consequence of her lies. That was probably a right time to distance myself, but I felt so sorry for her getting hurt, being helpless with no friends or anyone to take care of her. Her only option was to go back to the same people, until she recovers her documents and somehow leaves the place. I felt like it would be heartless to ignore all these challenges and just blame her for her misfortune. I don't see this whole situation going in the right direction. I wanted to help her, file a suit against the guy, get a social worker, find her a job and a place to stay, but it's been almost a month and she hasn't done anything. I don't know how to get myself out of this. Without telling her to leave, she would either go back to the abusive ex or become homeless. Do you have any advice for me? Or at least some constructive criticism? I know I made some wrong choices here, and need to reflect on myself. TLDR. A girl I met and liked, turned out to have a messed up life. She got assaulted recently and now she's relying on me to help her get back on her feet. As the time goes by I see that she's not focused on becoming independent. I'm trying to be kind and help her but it isn't effective and it seems like I'm wasting my time and resources. I might be too soft and kind, to the wrong person. Please help me find a solution.